Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. This is the Check Engine Podcast. We're streaming live through Anchor.fm or anywhere else that streams cool content that you want to listen to. My name is Peeves. Along with me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Andrew and Tristan. Guys, this is going to be a pretty special episode in the history of this podcast, wouldn't you say?
I think so. I mean, I've been waiting for this basically since we started.
Yeah, like this is a first episode. You're like, we need to get the things we're going to debut tonight, and they're finally here.
Yeah, I mean, what I should say is I've been waiting for this since we started. Yeah! First 10 seconds.
You want to just go ahead and get it out of your system?
No, that's it. That's all. I just need to do that. I just needed that.
Tristan, this means it's just you've got so much more shit to keep watch over here. You got yourself a new soundboard.
Yeah, luckily it went to his house, so he got to sit and actually set it up for hours. I just get to come and play with it now, so it's fine.
Awesome.
Yep. So we have new mics, we have a mixer, we have a soundboard, and we're listening to ourselves in headphones. We look, guys, super professional right now.
I'm worried now.
Why?
Are we getting professional?
No.
We keep saying we're not.
Yeah, we're still not getting paid to do this. So
Yes,
by definition,
well, actually we are.
That's why we bought this stuff.
But it's part of the charm that we pretend that we are not. And we're not, obviously, no.
Said we pretended that like we didn't.
Just I can have it both ways.
Okay.
I'm currently having it both ways.
Okay.
I should say.
All right.
Phrasing.
See, we're not.
That would be I'm currently getting it both ways.
See, we're not professionals, but whatever. So yeah, this episode is going to be cool because we're debuting a bunch of new equipment and sounds and whatnot. But the content for this episode, our main topic, actually stemmed from our episode last week. Tristan presented something that was so interesting that we decided, why don't we just spend a whole episode talking about this shit? So, Tristan, this was kind of your baby. Why don't you walk us through what we're going to be talking about tonight?
Yeah, so I touched on the topic of last week that I had found this weird subculture of Beetle owners that are electrifying them.
Which, by the way, we actually need to have a talk about that before we go any further. Because you said you'd found a subculture, people doing it. But the people who are doing it is actual Volkswagen.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but like...
That's not a subculture.
No, but I
just
didn't
the
know it was the
manufacturer.
company.
Well, they're one of them.
This guy.
I told you the stories of the other ones.
I feel like you gave us half the news, really.
We had things to do.
Fine. Okay, so along with Volkswagen, people are electrifying Beetles on their own.
And buses.
Yes, and
other
buses
things.
and all sorts of other things.
Yes.
Right.
Combis.
I'm not responding to that.
What?
Keep going.
But yeah, so we thought, okay, so we've all kind of lightly shat upon the idea of the electric car as, you know, something that people would want to buy, more or less. But we thought, okay, here's an exception to our rule. What if, as a hobby car, you were able to, you know, electrify cars for other purposes? So we bandied about a few categories, off-roaders, you know, weekend fun cars, things like that. And so we decided, okay, here's the deal. Let's pick 3 each and go from there. And what you would electrify and why. And I don't think we all chose the same categories. There were too many. We thought that was going to get into kind of a wordy episode.
Well, my thought was also because, like, yes, we could say off-road. Well, Tristan, you know, like if we were to have a fun car category, you'd probably want that to be an off-road, but then having an off-road kind of makes that pointless. Versus, you know, something like if you wanted to, if someone electrifies a Miata, that is a fun car, but it could also be a daily driver. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
like-
just
There's a lot of crossover.
Yeah, it was like
in this.
off-road, fun weekend car, resto mod, and daily driver. Like the first 3 could all be the same thing for me.
for sure. And it could be for any of us. So it was easier to just kind of pick 3 and go from there.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. I'm interested to see what you guys picked.
Yeah, it's going to be weird for sure.
I'm just in the back of my head now. I'll be honest. I'm almost like looking over my shoulder, just like anticipating Andrew to come in with a drop somewhere. Like he's just gonna,
You don't need
like,
to be
like Attack of the Sound drop.
no. I just needed to get that rap horn out of the way. We haven't had one. We've never had one.
Now
I've
we
threatened
got
to have one for so long, and now we have one.
All right. Well, before we get into the main topic, as we like to do in these types of episodes, we want to start off with a couple of pace laps. So, any neat cars we've seen along the way, any news tidbits that anybody has to offer. So,
I got into an argument with Volvo.
did you now? Like
Yeah.
their actual account?
Yes,
Nice.
the @Volvo Cars Twitter account.
Sweet. Over what? Now,
Over
wait, ladies and gentlemen, if you are following us on Twitter, you've known this already.
yeah, exactly.
So get with it.
Let's see. When was this? Let me pull it up here. 4 days ago. So Tuesday.
I almost thought you were going to say 4 score.
No, 4 days ago, Volvo sent this out. Introducing #selfie for safety, an initiative to aim for creating the largest crowdsourced study for car safety. How to contribute? Put on your safety belt in a safely parked car and take a selfie. Then tag #selfie for safety and @Volvo Cars and upload it onto your Instagram feed. My response is, how exactly is this a study? And so they tweeted me back. Data collected from this activity will contribute to real safety studies at Volvo Cars Safety Center in Sweden. When our research team is done analyzing and drawing conclusions from the data, we will present the research findings at our EVA site, and they gave a link.
But
So-
what data are they going to analyze? Just from people sending in pictures.
Nick, they're analyzing the data.
Just data.
But
Don't worry about it.
The data.
am I jumping ahead?
The data.
Am I jumping ahead?
I don't know.
Because I have so many questions.
But my next question was, so how many of Volvo's safety studies? And remember, Volvo has been infamous for their safety studies for all of their existence. That was like their number one thing, right?
That's their thing is
They
safety.
were the first ones who do rollover tests, that moose test, like, you know what I mean? That's what
The
it
moose
is.
test,
That's
yes.
what genuinely that's
Yes,
what it
I
is.
know.
That's all Volvo stuff.
Mhm.
And so actually in my head I was like, are you shitting me? Like Volvo, the company famous for not only promoting but pioneering safety in cars, is basing their data collection partially on selfies? Okay, so I asked him, so how many of Volvo's safety studies incorporate or have incorporated data from Twitter hashtag campaigns? That's not exactly scientific or reliable data. True. I think we can all agree.
Fair. I'm still trying to figure out what they're going to analyze from that. Is it it's got to be geolocation, right?
Well,
for,
let's see
for
here.
marketing purposes.
I mean, probably. But as far as we know, they responded to me, as far as we know, we have no other safety study collected through Instagram hashtag campaign.
There
We-
might be a reason.
We have participated in the analysis of studies incorporating questionnaire data, which has been threaded through social media. Second one. Whether a study is scientific or reliable is not a question on what channels the data is collected through. Totally false. That's just a lie. What defines scientific validity is whether the results are drawn in line with or substantiated by the collection and analyses methodologies used. Also only partially true. But the first part of that is completely false.
Yeah, that's part of like the scientific method.
Yeah.
We learned that in
self-reporting.
The quality
Is
of the
not
data can
quality data.
immediately invalidate your study. And I would say that just doing hashtag collection is not in any way a study because it is fraudulent from the get-go. People who take a selfie in a parked car with a seatbelt on that is not in any way equivalent to people who drive with their seatbelts on.
What if they take they put the seatbelt on, take the selfie, then take the belt off to drive?
Yeah.
Just because they want to be, this is another chance to be Twitter famous or something. And just
So my tweet back to them after that was, or, if your question encourages confirmation bias, which theirs does because they didn't even ask the question, just take a selfie in your car and hashtag it with Volvo. Only take a selfie and hashtag it at Volvo if you're wearing your seatbelt in a car parked safely.
Right. It's like, do the thing we want you to do
so we can say we're 100%
and take a picture
correct.
of it.
Yeah.
Like,
So their last tweet was, indeed, that's a risk. Okay. You'll be able to review the report for yourself as soon as it's finished, when it will be published at, and they gave the same link again. I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. Like, I feel like it's bizarre. I feel like I don't even know what they're doing. Why did they do this?
Publicity.
Yeah, not actual science.
It's publicity.
And yet they're marketing that. And I know. I shouldn't be surprised, right? I definitely shouldn't be surprised at this. But I feel like this is kind of offensive in some way. Like they're going to take this data and use it in a report. My guess is, and again, this report has not come out yet, but my guess is what's going to happen is they will either do like a heat map. Was it Nick or Tristan? One of you said it'd probably be like geolocating data.
Geolocating,
Nick?
yeah.
That's probably going to be part of it. And probably also age focused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely that.
It's just,
So it's going to be pretty, like by age and location, these are the highest percentage of seat belt bucklers, or like what are they looking to? What is the report looking to show?
I don't know.
That's the question.
For me, it's just hard to it's hard to swallow this as science because I don't think it is.
It's not.
Well, you find it hard to swallow as science because it ain't.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think under the most generous interpretation, Volvo, this is bad science. But I think what this is a social media campaign, which there's nothing wrong with running a social media campaign.
None.
And there's nothing wrong, by the way, with a car company promoting safety through a hashtag campaign. That is not wrong. Putting this into a report, claiming it to be science because you say that scientific data is only established with one standard of proof and that the data has nothing to do with the end result is bullshit. It's not even accurate.
Yeah, that's not how science works.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll read your report, Volvo, but unless you pull a rabbit out here, I am going to be just as skeptical of anything coming from this campaign.
As the CEO of our company normally says to someone when he's not happy with something, I look forward to seeing you revisit that.
That's a classic disappointment line right there.
I look forward to seeing you revisit that, Volvo. I do.
I really like that, actually.
Well, I have a less, well, maybe not, a less confrontational pace lap in the form of a neat car news with a question mark.
Sure.
On my way to and from the other facility that I work at, there is a regularly parked in the street or in this person's driveway a limousine that bears the license plate PT Limo.
Oh no. Is it really?
It is.
Is it one?
It is a PT Cruiser limo.
Wow.
And
That's
not only
awful.
is it a PT Cruiser limo,
Oh God. It gets worse.
it is painted in the most horrendous, like, metallic neon color scheme. Like, it is. I can't. I was
Tell
trying
me
to
it has
find
hot rod flames or wood
Oh, that's what I was
panels.
going to say that.
No. It is all one color. Unfortunately,
Oh,
I'm trying to. I was
now
trying
I'm
to see
kind
if
of
I could.
disappointed.
Trying to see if I could find it online, but I couldn't necessarily. I didn't. It was just
If
the
they
right
would
place.
have
but,
bought like 60 feet of wood paneling to run
Oh,
down
that
the
would have been
side.
pretty cool, actually.
that would have been cooler.
Awesome.
But it's like this weird, like super 90s, almost like 90s colors, but metallic, like multi-faceted
Well, what color?
A pearlescent.
Like
Like
pearlescent,
the like those SVT Mustangs.
pearlescent teal purple.
Yeah, like the exact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Although
Well-
the Mustang was green and purple, but
That's just unfortunate. I wouldn't call that neat.
That's
I mean,
that's why I said neat.
it's
Do we not know
offensive,
what?
But it's kind of neat.
Do we not know what to call it? Is that why?
Oh, speaking of license plates, actually, I discovered that we are living in the same county, probably, as the man who owns the RAV4 license plate on his RAV4.
How did you discover this?
Because I see him every single day when I drive home from work now.
Oh, okay.
It's like, someone has to have it, right?
That's a good answer, because any other way you could answer that is probably illegal.
No. I just saw it. And hey, RAV4 and a RAV4
And you see it consistently.
every single day.
Going the Like opposite you,
No, coming home, same direction.
same direction. Well, there you go. We should try to track him down and get him
Just follow him.
get him on the
Where
podcast.
do you live?
I saw a BMW with the sound effect of Spider-Man on his license plate.
Thwip.
Yep. I was
Thwip.
like, what?
Really?
And I had to think about it. Like, is it some kind of form of like TH whip or something? I was like,
Like
nope.
the whip?
Yeah. It's like, nope. It's definitely Thwip.
Thwip. I think someone has snicked.
Probably.
Wolverine claws.
Yeah.
For those who don't know.
That was
somewhere.
just this morning. Yeah.
What other superhero sound effects? I don't know. I can't think of any offhand.
This isn't necessarily neat car news, depending on what you think of the car. We don't much like it, but one of our listeners did report to us a Supra sighting, a new Supra sighting in the wild.
Wow, I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Did she send in pictures too?
She did. Yeah.
It was a parking lot of a supermarket, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I think it was black.
I don't remember. Black that out.
Did you hear Bugatti's double announcement this week?
No.
They cracked, and this is actually seriously impressive. I know that we're all kind of like about the Chiron,
I posted the video. I think this is where
the
you're
304 mile an hour run.
going. Andy Wallace driving, former ALMS
Yeah.
driver. Yeah.
That is impressive. But then,
That's crazy.
Did you see their follow up announcement that they're retiring from all speedrun records?
Well, what else is there to do? Just drop the mic and walk off.
400 mile an hour.
305 is faster than 304. I just want to point that out.
Someone will get there. Koenig zig will try for it or something.
I just think, I honestly respect the decision to be like done. I don't think they actually are. I don't. The next car they bring out, they're going to do speed runs with. But
It's like Kiss been doing farewell tours for like 30 years.
and the Rolling Stones.
And the Rolling Stones.
But yeah, I just I think it's a cool idea that they won't follow through on.
Yeah, and then everybody all up in arms because they only went one direction.
Okay, yeah,
Sure.
I can't get it up for that. It's like the Nuremberg thing. I just can't get all. I can't get my dander up.
The official Guinness record has to be 2 directions.
Yeah, but they don't care about that.
No.
Okay.
It-
Those engineers know the car went that fast.
They could be the fastest car in Italy, and I think that's really all they'd care about. Genuinely,
Or wherever they are. France, Germany.
it's probably at that VW track where
Yeah,
they
the
did
test
Top
track
Gear
is
one.
the one in Germany. Yeah.
No, the video is seriously impressive. Like, did you guys actually watch it?
No,
I did.
I was blown away by it. Like,
by 300 miles an hour in a car. Well, in a road car, I guess.
in a road car, yeah, 300 miles an hour on the salt flats, whatever.
It looks totally meaningless.
in the
If there's no context on the salt flats, it's just like, wow.
or even
Going
like
left to right,
even
at a
like
speed.
NHRA top fuel and funny cars will do 300 and a quarter mile, and that's like you've seen it so much that it
doesn't register.
doesn't
anymore.
register anymore.
And also, yeah, they look so unlike cars.
So like here's a genuine. Now they did say modified. Like they
Special tires, I think, is the main thing.
They tricked it out a little bit, but like this is a car that not us, but someone could actually go buy that just did 300 miles an hour.
That's
That's pretty
irresponsible.
crazy. That's pretty crazy. So, well, anybody have anything else? Or you want to jump into our EV fun cars?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So how we want to set this up is one person give all 3. We doing round robin. We gonna go by category or
Let's just go kind of one for one and see what we end up with. I mean, Tristan, this was your genesis. So, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. I can kick us off.
Meh.
So I'm going to start with the fun off-roader because that's where we started with all this.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for this one, I kept myself to an artificial limit. I know we said no limit on price, but I did try to keep myself sub 10,000 because that was our discussion on the last podcast.
Sure.
Was like, hey, what can you get for cheap? Kind of disliked, how are you going to find a cheap off-roader?
quick question. Sub 10,000 before you modify
Yes,
or just to buy?
Yeah, acquire for less than 10,000 and then modify.
Okay, that's how I did it too.
So at least the off-road one, because that was the one that we were kind of discussing. Can you find a cheap off-roader that is capable but not broadly loved?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is yes, at least in this country.
Okay.
The Suzuki Samurai.
God damn it!
Oh,
really?
Jesus.
Haha.
You
However,
beat me to it, you son of a bitch.
however, I did sneak just under the 10,000 limit because I found a cool one.
Did you?
I found it for 9,950. Just under $50 less. I found an actual because the Suzuki Samurai in this country that's what's branded in this country as a Samurai.
Yeah.
It's actually the Jimny overseas.
Right.
So
Yes.
the Suzuki Jimny is what it is everywhere else, and someone imported one.
Oh,
It-
wow.
It almost feels like a shame to tear this one apart and electrify it because it's like an 800cc turbocharged manual Jimny.
Well, here's what you do. You put the electric motor in there, and then you take that engine and you put it on your bike.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That'd be cool.
Andrew from distance.
But it's right-hand drive
Oh, God.
Nope.
in
Now I'm
immaculate off-road. Who cares?
I do.
Why?
How are you going to see the left side of the car if you're on the right-hand side?
How are you going to see the right side of the car if you're on the left side of the car?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
matter.
answer me.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to care about that side.
Don't worry about it.
So right-hand drive, which is apparently a deal breaker for you guys. I don't know. But and like in super super good condition, right down to the spare tire cover that says Jimny Turbo on it.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wow. That's actually pretty cool.
So
Sweet.
that was my off-roader because I tried to keep it cheap. And there was the Sidekick, the Samurai, and I found out that, oh, hey, the Samurai is actually the Jimny everywhere else. And then it made me think of how weird and interesting the current Jimny is. And I was like, what about electrifying the old one? Well,
Sure.
how would that do for you? So
I think I'm just going to jump in next because he stole my vehicle.
So I heard.
But yeah, Suzuki Samurai. One of the reasons is because it's pretty light.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't take a lot to push it. So it's 2,100 pounds curb weight as it comes.
it's like a tin can.
It's
Wow.
super, super light. Also 4-wheel drive. And probably because it was imported as a Jimny and everything, but like I just looked at Kelley Blue Book, a 1995 model year Suzuki Samurai. Average price was between $2,200 and $2,500.
Yeah, I found
with a 4.5 out of 5-star customer rating.
Yeah, I found mint kept in like Texas, so there's no salt and also no ocean salt. Like bright red paintwork from the factory. It was like $4,500.
Nice.
And so yeah, I got the one that was the special import. It was more, but you can get regular Suzuki Samurais for like
Really
nothing.
freaking cheap.
Yeah.
You could spend almost all the money in your budget to do the modifying
Yeah.
and to put the electric motors in.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I really would want for an off-roader is the Mahindra Roxor.
Well, yeah,
That's what I would really
it's funny because that was
want.
actually
Yeah, of course.
that was on my list.
Oh, it's actually,
I want one of those in real life.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I don't even give a shit about any off-roading stuff, but there's something about that quote unquote not road legal car that you can get road legal from the factory. Like they just ship you blinkers and they're like, here you go. Anyways, that's what I really want, but obviously that's too new. We just set, an artificial limit of 10 years because what's the point of saying you would electrify any modern car? It's just kind of like, all right, fine.
Someone's gonna probably do it anyway.
Exactly. But here's one you didn't think of, and both of you are poorer for it.
All two of us.
The Isuzu Vehicross would be my choice.
Gesundheit?
The Isuzu Vehicross or Vehicross. I don't actually know how to say it.
I bet it's Via Cross.
It's probably Vehicross. It's kind of Isuzu's Jimny. Looks. Nope. Wait.
Spoilers.
Like that.
yeah.
That weird looking thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's seen
yeah.
one like one time.
Did they sell those here?
They did.
Hmm.
It was a very small run, super unpopular car.
I've seen one. It was like a weird burnt umber.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw one actually at Point. There was one at one of the houses like right by campus, so it was always there. It's super ugly
Yes.
and very small, short wheelbase, very high corners, so it'd actually be like a quality off-roader. Obviously, they get the 4-wheel drive, and I don't know. It's just kind of like a little ugly duckling. I really like it.
That's fair. I like that we all did go the same kind of direction.
I think you have to though, because
Yeah.
who wants to do that to a truck? Honestly,
Too much weight to push around.
I had another interesting honorable mention in this category that I wrote down. It was actually a Willys, but it wasn't like a classic Willys Jeep. It was the FC 150, the one with the portal axles and the cab over.
That's actually cool.
Yeah.
That's actually cool.
And you could do a good portion of the bed as part of the batteries.
Sure.
So that was on my list.
I wouldn't do that as an off-roader.
That's
That-
$30,000.
Well,
You
there
said
was no limit.
You said there was no limit.
I know,
I was looking
but
for cool stuff.
$30,000.
That wasn't gonna. Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily an off-roader.
I
If
would have
you-
used that as like a cruiser
know.
to the car shows.
I got a better one for that.
Well, I mean, do you just want to go for it?
Yeah, you're calling it.
Sure. So it's funny that I chose that one as like kind of my like off-roadish pick, because a very actually similar, not similar, but related vehicle, because Kaiser and Fraser, that whole group, had the ownership of Willys for a long time. So a 1953 Kaiser Special in
Never even heard of it.
one of the most fantastic colors. It's described as Bermuda Rose.
Pink?
It's kind of a pink red. I'm trying to get it to go full screen here, but it's like that.
Oh, Rose.
Yeah.
I mean, Rose is the best way to describe that.
It's and it was this whole company was kind of strange. I spent a lot of time looking up Kaiser vehicles. I had no mention of that ever in my life.
No, I've never heard of it.
And I was just scrolling through old cars. And I was like, what's this? And it was I read the whole article. It was titled like an ambitious failure. So it was like one of the first manufacturers to try to do unibody design. One of the first manufacturers to really try to push front wheel drive. A lot of safety things before they were necessary.
Was this an American company? By the way?
Yeah.
Maybe stupid
Really?
question.
Yeah,
but-
American company.
Well, then we know why they really failed, because their name was fucking Kaiser.
I was gonna say.
Well, that and it was after the war. That and they were up against the big three after the war.
Right.
So, but they were the first. That one was one of the first 50s style bodies on a car.
Sure.
When you can the big three came out with like 2 or 3 years later when they all started to look like that.
So like what people listening would think of a 50s style body is Kaiser was the first.
Yeah, like the all sheet.
We'll put it up.
All
We'll let
sheet
people
all
see it.
sheet metal fenders.
Yeah.
That kind of carried the line from the front to the back of the car.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. So it was very early. But just kind of universally not thought very much of, because despite all the ambition, they were fine. But they didn't stick out, and they didn't have the kind of distribution that the big three did.
Sure.
And I think they ran like only from the late 40s to the mid 50s. So it wasn't around very long. But they had a couple other interesting cars I was trying to find, and I couldn't find one for sale at any price.
Right. If they
The
were that rare, you know.
the Vagabond and the Traveler.
Oh, God. Those are the same word.
And they're very similar cars. But they were one of the first. Like, you remember how the Chevy Avalanche had that like midgate that you could open and close,
Yeah.
so you could put longer stuff in it.
Yeah.
It was like that. So it looked like a 50s car, and then the back window would like fold up and in, and the back part of the car would fold down and in, and like you had what ended up with
Like a bed?
like a pickup bed
What?
with wooden runners in it, so you could slide stuff into it.
That's pretty
It was
dope.
crazy.
That's actually awesome.
I was like, I would love to. I was trying to find one of those. But
that
I
was
found
what? The Vagabond?
the Vagabond or the Traveler.
both of them had.
Yes. Yep.
So what was the difference between the two?
I don't know. I was trying to find that out, but they said they came out with these two models that did this, the Vagabond and the Traveler, and they didn't tell me what the difference was.
You
but
should become the world's foremost Kaiser car expert.
I would have to surpass the guy whose website I was reading, and that would be hard.
Why did I say expert?
I don't know.
Imagine how many podcasts you could get on then. as a
Right?
guest.
Exactly.
Guest
You'd be
Kaiser
challenging. You'd be
experts.
challenging Loaf for the amount of podcast guest appearances.
Podcast guests are number 2.
By the way, he DM'd me a great episode idea that he wants to come back for.
Yes, I
So,
saw those. I want to do that.
Yeah, it sounds
Um,
really good.
But yeah, so I thought that would be a perfect like cruise it to the Kilty or something.
Oh, totally,
And like
for
people
ice
were
cream?
like, "What is that?" You know, like and like as you see,
And
the
then
50
you'd be beaming because you get to tell them the whole story. And
I
show
have
them
a
what it
whole
does.
story about this.
Yeah, let me tell you about.
know.
Sit down, kids.
Let me tell you about my freshly electrified Kaiser special.
Guys are permanente.
That's a healthcare network.
Well, all right. I got to say, you paint an interesting picture of you cruising down to the frozen treat stand
Yeah.
with a car that's cool, but it falls short,
Oh yeah,
and you missed the obvious one.
I specifically didn't go for the obvious
Well,
one.
yeah, because you missed it.
No,
Listen, here's the car.
BMW Izetta.
Don't be gross.
don't be gross.
The car that should be that it should be mandatory that you electrify this car would be the Chevrolet Corvair, because that car is so cool in so many ways, but a failure because of
In
the
so
stupid
many
engine.
others.
because of the engine.
Exactly. But so essentially a mid-engined electric car.
Yep.
It's got a giant space in the back for whatever you want to throw in there, and a bunch of batteries too, plus a frunk. Plus, it's just a giant. Well, it's actually they're not that big,
No, they're not big.
but I really think that tied together, and you could like make this car posthumously a success by electrifying them, because they're not super popular, and you can get them everywhere.
Wasn't it Ralph Nader who killed that car? Was that that was like the super dangerous one? I thought.
It wasn't. I don't think it was super dangerous. Was it?
Well,
Nick?
they
I don't
said
remember
yeah,
that.
like that was the unsafe at any speed car.
It was the Pinto, wasn't it?
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
Go ahead.
I just thought this car failed because it was hideously unreliable, and because the engine was in the wrong place. They didn't have the cooling sorted, so it just kind of
Well, and
Didn't
you
work.
roll up to the frozen treat stand in one of those electrified. You're going to smack people in the face twice because they're going to be like, "Oh man, a Corvair! You don't see those. It's electric.
Exactly.
It's like one, and then you hit them again."
and just they're super common. The last year I went up to that Alfa Romeo museum where
Yeah.
we should really go. But it's also a Corvair graveyard. He probably has 50.
Wow.
But
But
so you
yes,
can get your hands on a roller pretty cheap.
the Corvair's reputation and legacy were badly tarnished by a controversy surrounding its handling ability, and the car was scrutinized in the 1965 book by Ralph Nader, Unsafe at Any Speed.
Nice.
Also, it's one of my favorite things, by the way.
Being unsafe or speed?
No, a portmanteau.
It is of Corvette and the word air.
Bel Air, actually.
Agree to disagree.
But yeah,
I
So-
mean, yeah, shout out to Ralph Nader, I
for
guess.
being rude and killing the Corvair.
But also the name Corvair Monza is dope.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really
Super
cool.
dope.
That's really
Anyway,
cool. F1 racing at Monza this weekend, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? So
I just think that would be a really cool. I actually want to see an electric version of those because I feel like it's a use for that car that, I mean, might have been a good idea. And, the spirit of this car haunts Nick to this very day
Because it's back.
because it's a mid-engine Corv.
it's half bad.
You can hate the front half.
I hate the frunk.
I just think that'd be kind of a cool car to see.
I would put my electric motor in the frunk,
You could actually do that. Oh
Yeah.
my god, if you really wanted to.
and now it's a front engine car. Problem
Exactly.
solved.
I fixed it. Also, you'd have that interesting, for any video game people out there, you'd have that almost Fallout-esque electric power plant just behind the driver kind of deal.
Yeah. You could probably get yourself a little manufactured body kit, look like those ridiculous cars. Anyways,
That's a good one.
yeah.
If we're just circling around with the weekend fun cruiser cars, mine's not as original because I actually brought it up last week and both of you guys said it was a great idea, so it's validated for me. So I'm just going to say it again: a 1992 Corvette C4.
Yeah, that is still a good idea. I think.
It's a great idea.
It's a great use for that vehicle.
Kelley Blue Book, again, that's where I went to find my average prices. I didn't look up individual Corvettes like on a, Car Gurus or anything like that. But Kelley Blue Book average is $83.50, not $83.50.
I thought you said 83,000. I was like,
I
what?
kind of thought that too.
Whoa, 8,000. Let me rephrase: $8,350. And this is the heaviest car on my list, and it's still only 3,200 pounds. Where if you look at like the modern Teslas, like a Model X is between 51 and 5,500 pounds.
Yeah, once you electrify it, though, that's going to go up.
Well, it's going to go up, but if you're starting with less weight to begin with,
Yeah, and you
it's
take
only
the
gonna
engine
help.
block out.
You take the engine block out.
Good point. Still,
Only
it's
gonna
a lot of laptop batteries.
It is. I picked up 5 or 6 laptops altogether.
Let me tell you.
Pretty heavy, guys. Pretty heavy.
So, yeah, mine's the 92 C4. And a lot of people, Tristan has a weird attachment to it, but
I do. I just do.
the
I don't know why.
that C4 body style, I think, is kind of the ugly stepchild of the Corvette family at this point.
In terms of looks, I actually hate the C3 more. I just think the C4 is, I don't even know what it is. It's like a testament to lavishness that I don't think actually existed. You know what I mean?
So, in my mind, it's kind of almost the opposite. I feel like it was one of the years that the Corvettes were like the least wow. Like, a lot of them don't have even like leather seats.
Right.
Like, it's like, here's a cloth seated automatic Corvette that doesn't wow anybody.
Yeah, but it's so fancy.
Who wants to shift their own gears? Yes. No,
What
I
shirt am I
understand.
wearing right now?
Save the Manuel. Oh, manual.
Save the manual. Shift your own cars.
Save the Manny.
I do. You don't, Nick. You're the only one who doesn't.
That's right. Because
kinda-
I need a truck to tow stuff. So
They make
The
I'm pretty
Gladiator
sure they-
comes in a manual.
That's right. It does. You sell your truck and get a Gladiator.
no,
Then let me borrow it.
No.
I don't wanna. So yeah, C4 Corvette for my weekend fun electric vehicle.
Still a good pick, definitely.
It's funny that we joked about that, and you don't shift an electric car. None of them.
Well,
Also true.
Yeah.
Also
Although, doesn't the new Taycan? What's the new Porsche?
Oh,
Take
Oh, I
Taycan.
forgot to talk about that during the face laps. Can we take
Talk
a
about it
moment in the gap here?
Yeah,
Just
go
talk
for it.
about it now.
Taycan Turbo and Taycan Turbo S.
Everyone is pitching a shit fit about that, and I so do not care. Do you care?
I just think it's funny. I think it's funny, and also from both sides. I think it's kind of funny because it's kind of lazy on Porsche's part. However, I remember computers with turbo buttons on the front.
Also, more to the point.
So the fact that you can't turbo an electric item, incorrect.
But also, Porsche has been using turbo as a package. Like
Yeah.
it's not even the first time they've done that on a car that didn't have a turbo. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just
They're-
kind of like their jam.
They're using turbo in terms of like speed, not the actual piece of equipment.
But yes, turbo buttons on computers, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it needs one on the dashboard if you get the turbo one.
Mm-hmm.
It's an option though, and it's a normal one until you hit the button.
Like an actual keyboard key.
Yeah, keyboard key or the big long throw chunk on the front of the computer
Ooh,
case.
That'd be
Yeah.
good. That'd be good.
And then what happens is that when you hit that, OLEDs embedded in the trunk light up underneath Taycan. So it's Taycan, and then you hit the button and it
And it
lights
goes
up, boom, turbo.
That would be so awesome.
Come on, I'm really good at this.
I would love that. That would be really good. But I just think like turbo and Turbo S, that just sounds like the extra strength allergy medicine.
The Taycan Turbo S.
Taycan Turbo S.
70
48-hour coverage.
48 and 72 hour.
48 and 72 hours. Okay, wait, though. I actually have a question about that car because I feel like a lot of press pictures of it, but one of them looks like this from the back. And I don't know why, because I've never seen that anywhere else. But that's what
Wow.
Car and Driver published. And if that's what that car actually looks like,
Them are some big old taillights, man.
what Porsche, not the right time to try. Not the right time.
Nope.
What is this?
Is that have they all been spy shots before then?
Yeah, I think so. I
Because
mean,
I know the spy shots have been really heavily camouflaged as to what the rear fascia looks like.
I had to I had to re-Google image search this picture today because I wasn't sure where it came from, and this is from car and driver's photo essay on the Taycan that was published on Monday. I don't understand this back end at all. Why does it look like a Taurus? Why?
Yeah,
I just think the taillights are 3 times as big as they should be.
They are
huge.
huge. They're so enormous.
They're huge, bruh.
That's
They're
what I'm saying.
huge.
We're going to post this picture, but I genuinely do not understand what I'm seeing.
No.
And that's the thing. I've seen so many shots of this car just this week, obviously, because the only thing anyone's talking about is the word turbo. Stupid Elon Musk. It doesn't mean that. Shut up, Elon. But
See, he's wrong again.
Nobody cares. Elon.
Also
Turbo button.
but yeah,
That's what they were going for.
but I see so many different pictures. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what's real and not with this car
And
anymore.
that's
I don't know what it looks
Porsche
like.
wants you to experience.
Maybe you can only get these on the turbo.
The taillights are bigger. On the Turbo S, they go all the way across.
You're just sitting in a red capsule.
the whole back is taillight.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Turbo.
I really don't know. Anyways, that was confusing for me, but I'm glad that we got the chance to talk about that because I did want to actually.
That's good. Sidebar over. Can we get back, can we get back to the topic
Sure.
at hand? So, Andrew, you went with the Corvair. I went with the C4. So we've got kind of our weekend fun cruisers. Tristan? What's your last category? Did we all do the same category? I'm guessing.
I don't
for
think
this?
so. I don't know.
What's your last category?
Well, I just went for nostalgia value.
Sure. So resto.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is. You guys are gonna love this.
Are we?
No.
He says sarcastically.
It is a 1973 Volkswagen Squareback.
That's
Oh, it's so
ugly.
bad. It's so bad.
Why?
I don't know. I like it. I'm making it for me.
That is
I would want to drive around in that.
That is
Would you really?
Yeah.
You
Why?
look like such a clown in that.
So?
I'm just telling you something.
that is some hard hitting analysis from our producer over here.
Sometimes you just want stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you tell me about it? Besides the fact that it's red and you like
And
it.
it has a square back.
That's pretty much it. 1973.
You did say that already too.
Yeah.
It's in red.
It has a white interior, which is cool.
Ooh, I like a white.
That's actually
interior.
okay. See? Now we might be starting to come around to it a little
White
bit.
interior.
What can you tell me about the history of that car?
Nothing. I very specifically just said I very much want one.
Is it the predecessor to the Jetta wagon, Passat wagon?
Yeah, it's one of the kind of first ones that they brought here as a wagon body style. The closest equivalent you'd probably find would be like the sport wagon of a few years ago. No, that one was just we kind of talked about like daily driver / weekend car.
Mm-hmm.
And that one struck me as just kind of something we talked about electrifying Beetles because that experience is going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
Same thing. These were built on the same basic mechanicals as all Volkswagens at that time.
Sure.
Either the 9 horsepower diesel or the 12 horsepower gas motor.
All 12.
Yeah. Literally dozens of horsepower, Nick.
Literally.
1 dozen of
Yes,
horses.
this is 1 dozen. Baker's
and-
dozen or a regular dozen?
No, only 12.
Only 12.
Okay.
But yeah, so it just struck me as like, yes, I want to electrify that, and like when I don't have to worry about driving all the way to work, if I just gotta like run and get groceries or
Mhm.
go to the movie theater or something close, it'd just be fun to tootle around in. I saw it and I went, yep, I want that one, and there's no logic to it whatsoever.
Want that for a little tootling?
Yeah, you got it, tootling.
It's interesting. There can be no doubt that it is interesting.
Yeah, and it's not a great. There's not a whole big story like the Kaiser one.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite. I was just flipping through cars and I was like, I really like that.
Huh.
I want one of those.
That's fair. That's definitely fair.
That's fair. You want to take the next one or you want me to go?
I can do it. I mean, because for my last one, it's not really like a class thing or a type of car. The whole time I'd been trying while I was looking up cars, I've been trying to figure out a way to shoehorn in something super corny. And I think for the longest time I was looking at the Ford Thunderbird because thunder. You get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Electro Bird.
Putting down.
Yes.
Another one under heavy consideration, the Pontiac Tempest,
Yes.
because I actually love that car and I hate that all of you gray-haired, balding idiots put fucking GTO badges on your Pontiac Tempest. Tempest is a way cooler name, whatever. But I finally landed on, and this would actually be a pretty dope car to electrify, the Saturn Sky.
Okay.
You can actually get those on the market. They're honestly not that expensive. Like we talked about, people want the
right.
Pontiac, whatever it was.
Which is weird.
The Solstice.
Yeah, Solstice. They want that. It's the uglier car, but
the Sky looks
they're
way better.
wrong.
yeah.
Actually, the Opal version looks, I think, even better.
Obviously, they always look the best. But yeah, you can get the Saturn Sky. It's a small little 2-seater, pretty light. About 3,000 pounds. But modern car, so it's all safetied up and whatnot.
Sure.
But I think here's what you do: you put you electrify it. You should have some room to put some batteries, maybe in the trunk, whatever.
Somewhere.
Whatever. And then you call it the Saturn Blue Sky because you're saving the environment.
The environment.
Look at you.
That's
Look
right.
High five from the brand marketing guy. That's well done.
That's right. Then it's the Blue Sky. And you get that as your plate somehow, whether it's BLUSKYYYY, because people are going to have Blue Sky. You just make it happen.
No, you don't get that as your license plate. You get Mr. Blue Sky as your license plate.
Yeah. Someone's got that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Andrew, I think that deserves a sound drop. That deserves a that's pretty good.
Should I give myself a...
Hey, that's pretty good.
There it is.
Great.
Well done. That's a great pick.
I would actually like to do that. And the reason I thought of that was 11th hour. There's a guy on one of the roads right by my house who has one, and it just sits on the side of his house all the time. Like, go drive that shit. But he never does.
He's keeping it for later.
Just saving it for later.
Plus, I think
You should go take it off his hands for him.
I know, right?
It wants to be driven.
Plus, I think with an electric motor, you could crush the maximum 260 horsepower figure that the thing used to have.
Easy.
And just dominate whatever torque that it had.
Well, yeah.
In a little 3,000-pound car, you could probably just fly along.
And I have visions of any one of these, especially something dumb like the square back or like a C4 even. Like just going getting the full P100D package out of a Tesla and cramming it in there and taking it to a drag strip and just flipping over and but crushing people in the heavily modified 5.0 Fox body Mustangs and stuff that are there.
Yeah.
Roll up in your square back Volkswagen.
I think they're wise to the electric car thing now. I don't think you're going to fool anyone.
No, you're not going to fool anybody, but
You might fool somebody with the square back.
Yeah, that's actually
not a Tesla, but the square back.
Right.
Oh, put a sound system in it. It makes it sound like it's running on gas.
That's
You just have
devious.
You just have engine noise playing through the
And then it cuts out.
like you got to find an old engine noise though, like with a squeaky belt. You really got to downplay
Yeah,
it.
so it's kind of like a powerful engine, maybe like a V8. Or maybe from an old truck or something.
It's kind of blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
You're like, oh, I don't know.
And it cuts out and then you wind to the start line.
Exactly. That's how you play them. Because see what's under the hood? Nah, man. Nothing under there for you to see.
You got to find out.
That's right. Oh, shit. And then you just bring out your little neatly rolled money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how I've never been to a drag strip.
your pink. You got to bring out your pink slip.
Oh, shit.
The pinks.
I don't think the official ones do that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's only in that fake...
The fake ass TV
yeah,
show that ran
fake
for
TV show.
30,000 years for some reason.
probably still on now.
Reruns maybe.
Pinks.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pinks.
Oh, Jesus. Why didn't I know that?
It's on Speed Channel. Forever. Anyway,
What you got, Nick?
my last one is going to be out of left field. It's a resto mod, and I was still going along this whole idea of getting a light car so you can just more bang for your buck once you put the electric motors into it. And I was thinking what old car was really tiny, really cool. I'm like, well, there's a lot of British cars that were pretty tiny. And then I remembered, and I don't remember who actually owned the car. It might have been my aunt. I just remember there was some wedding pictures from my aunt's wedding when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I was sitting in the driver's seat of an MG.
Yep. I had an MG.
Ah.
I had an MGB and a TR6 Triumph on my list.
I told you, Tristan, you should actually get an MGB.
I
so-
should.
Wouldn't that be a great car?
I want to
for
get
him?
an. I want to get an MGB GT.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so I actually picked a 74 MGB Roadster, the convertible version. Only 2,400 pounds. So super light. There's a little, gone. There's a little bit of a market for them. On average, they're around 10K.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
I'm not surprised either, but that was, the top end of our Tristan and I's self-imposed limit. But yeah, 74 MGB Roadster, kind of like a old British Miata type fun little
For
sports
sure.
car to throw around. And
I mean, it's very much what the Miata was emulating.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So if you drop some electric motors into that with some extra torques on that little frame, that's going to be a lot of fun.
It might just destroy the frame, actually.
Yeah,
you-
with
you're
You've got
probably
a lot
going to have
of
to
fun, but-
reinforce the frame, otherwise you're going to come home and it's going to be twisted.
I mean, you probably could in that car.
Like you're going to
or actually
it's
slightly folded.
it's
gonna,
a
like-
small car.
Yeah, it's going to dog track home or something if you hit the gas too hard. But
Yeah.
you would have to reinforce the frame, I think, when you put the electric motors in it. But yeah,
I think you get a lot of fun with these small cars, but I don't think you get a lot of range.
Right.
hard
well,
to
that was the
cram-
whole idea.
right,
Because like
you know-
it came from the dune buggy Beetles or whatever that you can just
Yeah.
putz around with on the
Yep.
weekends.
Yeah.
So you don't the range isn't necessarily the most important thing here, or it wasn't for me.
No, obviously not me neither. Look at what I picked.
It is a fun little exercise to think about, actually. And I wonder if somehow, in some fashion, with a manufacturer, any manufacturer, VW specifically, supporting the electrification of old Beetles, which I think is a fantastic idea.
Totally.
Even if we have some reservations about electric cars in general, it's a good concept. I wonder if that might catch on.
Yeah. Oh, electrifying older cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it might, because in general, not in general, it's a fact, older cars are way worse for the environment. So if people want to
Yeah.
keep driving these around, I mean, if you make them electric, like these old cars that people are nostalgic about can still be on the road, and you won't be harming anything while you
Even
do
that,
it.
I
And
just
they're also very rarely daily drivers.
well.
Very rarely.
Depending on who.
Depends.
Yeah, it
I mean,
depends,
that's the
but-
thing. If you could find a way to, make this so economical that people in South America, in Mexico, in developing nations like that could retrofit their cars with electric technology for less than the cost of that car new, which again, those cars were pretty cheap. I would think they were only probably a few $1,000s American.
The entire rental fleet of Beetles in Cozumel.
Right. Something like that. Just ways of helping the environment and helping people in developing nations, because again, it is honestly genuinely cheaper to refuel, quote unquote, an electric car than it is to refuel anything with gas. It's kind of a way to actually help people and the environment at the same time. And again, hopefully something like that will be plausible. Just because now you have a manufacturer doing it instead of a bunch of guys in their shops.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm interested to see if you see something like, I think we talked about it a few times, where like Jag and even Toyota's doing it with old super parts, where they even go as far as to build new old cars as an electric version.
Yeah. Speaking of that, one of the retro mod cars I considered was the DB5 or DB4. They're the same car. But simply because I think you would offend so many people by electrifying that.
That sounds like something right up your alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People get big mad. Definitely. But no one really gives a shit about the engine in that car. Like,
I don't think the
Well, that
engine.
was-
I don't think the engine is part of the allure of that car.
no, it's just the look.
That
It
was
looked like the worst Bond.
the
I said
opposite.
it.
I said-
The opposite
The look and the fact that it was in the Bond movies.
Yeah.
in one of mine that I actually considered
Although for the time, it was a really good performance car. But anyway, sorry, Tristan, go.
was actually a Cherokee.
Yeah.
And stripping a 4-liter out of a Cherokee, you might as well. Somewhere you've killed 4 or 5 Jeep owners.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's
Really?
straight. That's
Are they
straight.
that woke?
The straight 6. If you take that out and set it on the driveway and never use it again, you've killed several of them.
Why? Just have them buy it for the one in their Jeep that doesn't work.
They all work.
They do not all work. They do not all work.
Somewhere out there, someone needs a new engine.
They literally have a guy at Jalopnik that all he does is report on the fact that his Jeep engines don't work. That's his whole position there. It's the only thing he does.
He needs to stop mistreating his Jeep engines.
He's like the chief Jeep engine correspondent.
That's all he does. Write blogs about how his Jeep engine doesn't work.
He's bad at this. That's all I'm saying.
Not my hire.
Everybody else's work.
Good writer, not the best mechanic.
So what?
Maybe you shouldn't write in a car website.
I did not say that.
No, I did. I'll claim it.
Here's a totally off-topic story that we missed in the intro, but I do really want to talk about. Has nothing to do with electric cars
Wow.
at all.
So
Great.
this would be a great fit for this episode.
Just gonna cut this off the end and put it in the beginning. Is that what you're gonna make me do?
No, it's just going to be here right now, and we're all just going to deal with it in our own way.
And listeners are going to deal with it in their own way.
We
as
don't
well.
have anything else to talk about. We're done, basically.
We are done. We could just finish.
Fine, then do it. Cuck the listeners. They won't get to know.
Fine. You've done this. This is you.
Yeah.
Not Nick. This is not me and you.
This is a super important question, though, for me.
All right. Why are we doing this?
Here's what we're doing. Vauxhall is going to
Boring.
bring back the Corsa VXR, which is their hot hatch
Great.
thing. As we all know, Buick is just buying everything from Vauxhall and just rebadging it. So the really important question is, would you buy a Buick hot hatch if they just imported it like they're doing with every single other car in their lineup? Would you buy this?
No.
But it
What-
looks
what-
like that. It looks fucking incredible.
It's gonna be ruined by Buick.
What are the specs on it?
I
I would be willing to give it
It's
at least.
going to be probably like in the 250 horsepower range, front wheel drive. You know,
So if it comes over, it's not going to have that engine in it. I'll say that right now. If Buick brings it over, I would be willing to test drive it. I'm not going to tell you right now that I'd buy it.
I just think it looks totally amazing.
It looks great, and we'll put that up too.
I mean, I guess if literally the only change was a Buick badge went on the grill,
Yes,
then I would buy one.
but they wouldn't do that.
That would never happen, so I don't have to worry about it.
No.
That's why I said I would test it first.
Yeah.
I'm not going to commit to buying it. I would commit to a test drive.
I would electrify it.
You could electrify it.
I really thought, speaking of that, like no one chose a hot hatch to electrify. I thought you were going to come at us with the Omni, Andrew.
I considered it, but the issue is the GLHs are super rare, right? And everything else in that entire Omni lineup is garbage. Everything is bad.
Yeah, but what part of it is garbage? Is it the part you're taking out?
No, the whole car itself cumulatively was a piece of shit. And you know, the GLH actually really isn't an exception to that. It's just that they were so special that people maintained them.
It's a maintenance issue.
And the amount of maintenance that they need, because they just kind of rusted. They just did the rust thing.
Yeah, they
and fell
turned
apart.
into a pile of rust.
Yeah, is extreme. But other cars I considered, I already forgot the number, Tristan. Is it the Mark IV GTI, the one that the Mark III or Mark IV, the one that everybody hates?
4.
The Mark IV.
Yeah, because it was right before the Mark Vs in the
Yeah.
2006
That
model
makes
year.
sense.
2006 model year was actually Mark IVs and Mark Vs.
Yeah. I looked at the Mark IV because I actually really like that car.
I have nothing against it. But again, as I mentioned multiple times on this podcast, I'm the Isle of Misfit Toys king.
Yeah.
So
But something about that car, like when you look at
Mark IV, the C4.
yeah,
Mark
that's
IV,
right.
C4,
73 square back.
Square headlight Jeep, 73 square back.
The Land Rover military vehicles.
Yep.
People are wrong about the square headlight Jeeps. They're so wrong.
Yeah, bring them all to me. It's fine.
Yeah.
I will protect them and love them.
Sitting on his throne.
Yeah, that Mark IV, there's something about the interior specifically that just, it almost seems like it hasn't aged. You know what I mean? There's something about it. And yeah, I mean, obviously it looks older because it is, and it doesn't have a big flat screen in the middle
Very
of it.
homey for me. That's the years of the early 2000s Volkswagen products. I'll instantly recognize all the switchgear and everything.
Yeah, but
else.
short, a modern display screen, it looks like anything you'd find on a lot. It's, I just always kind of like that car. So I did consider that. And really, there's not much else in terms of hot hatches that qualified,
I considered an Avant.
An Avant, an electric Avant. Okay. Did you think of it? Did you consider it after you thought up that name?
No, actually. No. Because you know why I thought of that name? Right now.
Yeah, I would have normally tried to do that. The hatchback thing. Another weird car I considered, the Eagle Talon.
Ooh.
The all-wheel drive one. That might actually be kind of sweet.
Yeah, the name's awesome.
Yeah.
Someone at work suggested a Gremlin.
An AMC Gremlin. Oh, boy. I wonder how much that car weighed.
I don't know. Not much.
No. But also, that is another car with inherent disreliability issues. Same with the Pinto. That was actually another car I looked at, the Pinto. Simply because on one of the articles I was looking at, the picture of the Pinto they showed was it in like this off-white with a classic 70s three-stripe orange, brown, and orange brown going down the side.
Yep.
Oh, that actually looked really cool. It had all three 70s colors on it. It was great.
the entire decade right there on the door.
Yeah, right there.
That's awesome.
All right. That's enough fucking around.
We ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah, we laid down a marathon last week. We can give the good people a break.
We can give you a break this time. We went deep last week, so we'll cut this one off. So as you can tell, folks, we're obviously not pros at this, but you stuck with it and you listened to the whole thing anyway. So we appreciate that. But we don't want you to just listen. We want you to reach out to us. We want you to talk with us, not just listen. So let us know what cars you would want to electrify. Give us your ideas. You can start by going to checkenginepodcast.com. Once you're there, you'll find an email address that is inbox@checkenginepodcast.com. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, all of those type of things, ideas you have for episodes. Obviously, Loaf has some that we're going to deep dive into here. The website also gives you links to, we got a page of blogs up there. We got another new one coming out momentarily, I believe. Links to all the past episodes and links to our socials as well. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Facebook is @CheckEnginePodcast. If you want to hear Andrew argue with car companies like Volvo, the Twitter Andrew is
@CheckEnginePod. And
Tristan, we do have somewhat of a presence on Instagram.
So if you want to keep up with our intermittent presence on Instagram,
it is
@CheckEnginePod. I promise I will stop and take a picture of the PT limo
please
next week.
Take a picture
if it's
of the
there.
PT limo.
If it's in the driveway.
So yeah, follow us on socials. Like, follow, retweet, DM, do all of it with us on socials. We look forward to hearing from you there. If you really, really, really like what we're doing and you want to help, we do have support pages. You can help the cause by going to anchor.fm/checkenginepodcast and clicking that support button, or you can go to patreon.com/checkenginepodcast. The new equipment that we're recording with today, the new sound drops that we've got coming in. Andrew, hit me with another one. I don't care what it is.
What do we got here? We got we got a classic.
All of that, ladies and gentlemen, was made possible.
Don't tell them that. They won't give us any more money.
Bye.
That's okay. We have happy sounds too. No, it's not a toy, Nick.
Regardless, that was made possible by the Patreon page and the support page at Check Engine Podcast.
For better or worse.
For better or worse. Now,
I thought you were going to pull out by viewers like you.
Made possible.
I
by
should have.
possible for
I
support
should have.
by viewers like you.
I should have. But no one views us. They just listen.
Shh. It's unimportant.
So, anyway, if now we've completely talked you out of giving us any sort of money, that's fine.
Congratulations.
But you can also either A, write a review, or B, subscribe. What the hell? Do both. Both of them only take a couple seconds each. They're free. The only thing that's going to happen is good reviews move us up the list in the algorithms on searches, and subscribing means you'll know when we put out something new, and it doesn't cost anything. So that's really it. So we thank you in advance for all of that. We thank you for listening. Even if we suck, you guys are always awesome. For that reason, we can't wait to talk to you again. Until next time, take care.